Well, hello, folks, and cheers. It is 7:20 in the morning here in Omaha, July 31st, the last day of July. Cheers. It's been an eventful month for the world. Hope everyone's okay. So tomorrow is, as you see behind me, I brought the box back into the room because tomorrow is Bandcamp Friday, and I would really appreciate some sales and support for my channel. And I have music to sell to you for you new viewers, and I know I have several new viewers who probably have never heard me or probably haven't. I'm a long-time hobbyist musician who is just over time become, well, I've always been the real deal, but in many ways you could say I'm a professional musician or I'm a real music maker. Been in many bands, toured the world, have done some collaborations with well-known people in the middle of working on a new collaboration with people today, some you have heard of. But my music is original. It's really important to me. And I make it for myself. I don't make it looking for an audience. But it's worth an audience. So here's some of what I have. And if you don't want to buy it physically, I like to push the physical CDRs. One of these is a CD because of my artwork, my collages. You can get my artwork as well as the music. But here we have Listen. Let's do this right quick. I have more than what's in this box. My very latest one is the Dereck Higgins Experience, DHX for short. From the archives, also I have From the Archives. And I have more. This box is those three. I have Interlude. You don't have to wait till tomorrow to make purchases, but if you buy them on Friday, the artist Bandcamp waives its fees. They still take a cut, but it's much less, and the artist gets the majority of the sales money. So that's what Bandcamp Friday is about. And please discover my music and support my channel. Seriously. Well, today is back to the usual with the ears. Those last 2 days were heaven. But you know what's funny about life is that I had a second day yesterday of quiet ear, but my neighborhood wasn't quiet. They're laying cables for internet, and they're digging up the sidewalks and plowing. And so they had this heavy machinery and making all this noise yesterday, and they were really upsetting my cousin Raymond next door because we just paid to have our sidewalks repaved under pressure from the city, and here come this company digging everything up, and he was out there all day watching them, saying, and he got into it, saying, I just paid this, and y'all, looks like you're gonna mess my driveway up. It's probably a good thing that he went out there and spoke to them as they worked, because accidents like what he was concerned about happen a lot. And in these days of no accountability, you know what I'm saying? If nobody sees it, I don't know what happened. So I so again for folks who are just getting to the channel, the way that I'm able to spend a lot of time relaxing and listening to music or working on music and art is I'm retired, and I'm a homebody. I like being at home. I've done a fair amount of traveling, which I like, but the world feels really strange to me, and I just would rather stay at home right now. So, for example, I have these. We all have these thoughts. They're like visions. There was the shooting. What was that? Was it in New York? The guy with the semi-automatic who walks in the building, killed himself. It was either that or another recent mass event where I saw a musical associate of mine from Omaha just happened to be there at that time, just feet away from the event. He is lucky he didn't get struck. And I have those thoughts like, well, it's not paranoia. I just pay attention to when those thoughts arise about the potential of such things happening. I'm happy to stay at home right now. So I got into a little bit of music. I did musical work yesterday. That is something that I do appreciate about Doug Wesselman, and that we share. He is the sort of writer who sits down in front of the typewriter or the keyboard virtually every day. The muse doesn't arise every day. Now, I don't necessarily do that every single day, but I steadily work or do musical work. Actually, yeah, I do pretty steady, every week. Probably almost every day. Probably. It's good for the soul, it's good for the brain, it's good for the body, it's good for the ether. So I played a few things yesterday. Several years ago, when this album came out, for some reason it caught my attention. 2012, and I bought it. And this is after the band kind of mellowed out. Catatonia started out as a, I think, black metal band. Dead End Kings. This is very melancholic, heavy metal. They also do some cool things with the rhythms. They're not straight rhythms all the time. I like how they break it up. The lead singer has a plaintive voice that is very recognizable. I really like this album. When it came out and I showed it in the VC, there were some other VC members who were no longer around, panned it because they're saying, this is nothing compared to their early heavy metal roots. Well, that's fine, but boy, on its own merits, this is a wonderful album. Catatonia. Now, I've followed them since then, and they just have this sound that they do repeatedly. It doesn't change much, and so it's like I don't need any more Catatonia records. But I really like this one. Dramatic. Yes, I very much am enjoying playing records these days, like I always have, but boy, it's such a pleasure. What I like about more modern music that's really well recorded is in the digital domain, you get the full spectrum, and you get that full heavy bass when people get down into the subwoofer territory. But for some reason, it's more dramatic on a record. It just sounds bigger. So here's something again was sent to me, I forget by who. Splitter Orchestra, Felix Kubin, Split LP, Shine On, You Crazy Diagram. I only played the Splitter Orchestra side yesterday. And this is sonically very interesting. Very interesting. It's a combination of real instruments and synthesizers and sound effects, electronics. Looking at the, trying to see, it's hard to see the personnel, it's so small. This was really enjoyable as a sonic place to be while it was playing. It just kept my attention. It's the sort of thing where I can play something like this and turn around and start to get back on the internet and just listen in the background. But also it's foreground music too, in that turning, yeah, the Craig, the chair is creaky because I can't find how to get to the joints to oil them. I can't see them. It's all it's the way the chair is designed. So for you folks that are bothered by it, too bad. But this was sonically very enjoyable. Very enjoyable. Just the sonics, that's the word. Just the sound of things really, really well recorded. Played this again. This is a recent gift from Leonardo Pavkovic, who owns and runs Moon June Records, this label. And this is Soft Machine Floating World Live with Alan Holdsworth. And this is a well-recorded date. Lovely, lovely, clear vinyl. John Marshall on drums doing a good job on this album. He was nothing compared to what Robert Wyatt brought to the band, but he does a good job here. And of course, I just love Soft Machines. This is wonderful. I've grown up with Soft Machine music, so it's easy for me to just fall into doing nothing or just whatever's going on while Soft Machine is playing. It has my attention, and the world is a better place. Man, Soft Machine is a great band. Really would like your support tomorrow on Bandcamp Friday. I was talking to Ray, not my cousin, but the other Ray, who's a contractor, about the house and how I haven't had him do anything because of my concerns about costs. But he assured me again, even though he's very busy with other things, that he will work with me. I need a lot of work on the house. I'd appreciate your help with that. Yesterday, it was like, okay, I need to jump into some Richard Barbieri from Porcupine Tree, and before that from the band Japan. This is his last solo album, Under a Spell. Boy, is this man, boy. And he is one of the people who's been a guest on my channel here. Go to my playlists on my channel and look up Richard Barbieri. I was able to speak to him a couple of years ago. For me, it was a great honor because here's the red vinyl version. I highly recommend this album. He is someone who's been a big influence on me as far as my approach to trying to sound good electronically. I've always said that to me, he's been the secret sauce of Porcupine Tree. He is really the reason why I started to even pay attention to Steven Wilson, because Steven Wilson started working with Jansen Barbieri. This album is wonderful. It's more jazzy than prog, but it's very atmospheric, ambient jazz, okay? But it's its own sound. If you followed Japan, Tin Drum album, and then after that, Rain Tree Crow. Then you know the trajectory that the music took. Very atmospheric, very, very adult. This is wonderful. Under a Spell by Richard Barbieri. It was fantastic yesterday on the stereo. I played this not expecting the same effect as Richard Barbieri, but interestingly, when people talk about ambient and atmospheric recordings, you know, one of the most mentioned people is Brian Eno. And I have this album, Brian Eno's Film Music 1976-2020. Well, in many ways, I think Richard Barbieri, Trump is, I'm going to stop using that word, Trump, but Trump is unfortunately in the ether because of his madness. So that's why that word keeps coming up. But Richard Barbieri's albums atmospherically rival, for my taste, and even beat many Brian Eno albums, and yet Brian Eno is the one that everyone talks about when it comes to that type of work. I'd really like to encourage you folks, if you like this sort of thing, and you don't know Richard Barbieri's work, find out. This was really enjoyable from a lot of different projects that he's contributed to, and so as a result, it doesn't even sound really like an Eno album. It's these different pieces that he's done, unrelated. Very enjoyable. Very enjoyable. I have a couple records that I'm going to show that are out for play, but I haven't. But I want to show them because they're out for play. Okay, so let me do this first. So people send me music all the time, and several years ago, it was probably this artist, because I don't know the label. Belp, B-E-L-P, is the name of this artist. Electronic abstract dubstep is how they self-describe their work. And I like this stuff, but it's hit and miss. He tries things where you can hear he's experimenting. Well, how will this happen if I do this? And then he does beats. Some of them are good and some are not so good. But what I noticed about, not this album, I have three of them. He sent me three. Elephants. This is really good, except it's not totally consistent. But I was bummed when I played this one, Crocodiles. Interesting graphics, because this is an example of a record where they tried to cut some bass frequencies, and it's flawed. It literally made the needle jump, and I've got mine tracking everything set because it's something I learned, and the weight. But you can hear it coming. It's like I would be surprised even if a really super high quality stereo could get through those passages. It's like whoa, that is overload. It's like it made the needle jump. But otherwise, except for that, really interesting work. I played those two. I have this one as well, Hippopotamus by Belp. I didn't play this one. This one clear vinyl. I really like electronic music. I really do. I really do. Now, okay, here they are. So I remembered to pull it because the latest Magma, it's still new, Cartel, Magma. When this first came out, I was underwhelmed. But Magma is a sort of band that's been around forever. They do their own thing. Zool music is what they do. And so you have to either approach it on its own terms or miss it. And this is very vocal oriented, but it's really good. It is. It's good. It's like, they have a way of writing music that is unique. That's why they call it Zool music. It's not blues based. It's not even classical based. It's its own thing. And this is the feeling I got from this album is like, it's almost like this album is like the welcoming committee from another planet, where they're like emissaries welcoming you. Come to Kobaya. This is really good. Everyone is getting old now, and so Christian Vander's drumming is still dynamic on here, really wonderful, but he's not going apeshit crazy like he used to on the early album. He's an old man. This is really good though. Cartel by Magma. Happy to say. For a minute I was thinking no, but no, yeah. The answer is yes. The other thing that I got into yesterday was, again, wanting to explore the sonics of some more recent records with the New Needle. And it's wonderful. This is like Autechre, their latest album, Sign. So this one was almost a non-starter because I put on the wrong side to start with. I put on side C. They tend to do an idea and just repeat it and repeat it and repeat it. And if it changes, it's very subtle. So when I took off side C and went back to side A, I said, oh, here we go. And this is sonically very interesting, at the very least. It is one of the things I find compelling about good electronic artists is listening to their sounds and their patches and marveling at how they get these tones and these sounds. That's one of the things that I work on when I'm not necessarily composing. That's why I like the MIDI keyboard to access digital audio. As a digital audio workstation, I can access so many different synthesizers and effects and stuff to explore deepening and widening my own sound palette. And that's partly what's going on with this latest work that includes what I'm doing for Mike Watt, is tweaking, not just using settings, but looking for new tweaking. So these are records that are pulled to play, but hopefully I will do that today. The new Bass Communion, put out by Richard Johnson's Fourth Dimension. I need to check this baby out with the New Needle now. The Itself of Itself. Steven Wilson, to me, is practically a master engineer. I freaking love the way his records are sounding. So I want to jump into this today. Bass Communion. This as well. CCCL, Chris Carter. Chris Carter's Chemistry Lessons from Throbbing Gristle, Chris and Cozy. Last I played this was like really tasty. Compositionally and sound-wise. He built most of the equipment that he used in Throbbing Gristle, or uses, period. He built most of it. So his sound palette is pretty singular. And I like his work quite a bit. So this is out for play today. And this one is definitely, the next one is definitely, because I've been hearing it in my head and then I forget to grab the record. A duo album, jazz, but atmospheric, ambient kind of um, something different. Double exposure. It's Joe Chambers in duets mainly with Larry Young on organ. This is a favorite. This has a track on here, Mind Rain. It's in my top 100 tracks, singular tracks of any kind of music. It's just really wonderful. It's just one of those tracks where it's like some tracks, I can't compare it to something, but there's pieces of music in almost all genres where people kind of like they find a Shangri-La, or they create this place with this music that is very unique and just wonderful. And they do that on Mind Rain for me on this album. Joe Chambers, mainly known as a jazz drummer, he's playing keyboards on here. Not blues based. It's awesome, actually. If I could go there with it about it, it's freaking amazing. That's what I have for you today, folks. Nice hearing from you folks. I read all of the comments. I just delete and block people who are just, small-minded and foolish. And I will say to you, Myler, because I know that you're a regular watcher, I understand. You say that you're camera shy and you don't want to deal with the trolls. Well, I don't blame you, but I do deal with it because we have to stand up to ignorance and stupidity. That's why it's so bad. At one point, it's almost like it's not almost like, but it's what happened. The bad kids in the back of the classroom basically destroyed the classroom. And many teachers gave up. And it's reflected in our modern society, our modern culture, the things that happen, the way that we treat each other. Yeah. Greetings to you. Someone says, greetings from Iran. Greetings. I love the fact that people from all over the world join me. And I appreciate this from someone who said, cheers, Opa is embedded deep with roots of candombe. I think that's how you say it. A folk music typical from Uruguay with African origins, which is why it sounds Brazilian to me. Yeah, thank you for sharing that. Candombe. And the store that I was talking about in New York was Other Music. A couple folks responded. One thought it was Bleecker Bob's. I've been to Bleecker Bob's, and that was a trip. What I liked about Bleecker Bob's when I was in New York was I found a copy of one of my records there in the store. Used. It was a kick. But the other one was Other Music. And there's a documentary about Other Music. That sort of blew my mind, I could have spent all my money there. Yes. Someone bought Robert Wyatt's Rock Bottom on my recommendation. Yes, keep going. Keep going with Robert Wyatt. Keep going. And the only thing I want to say about Genesis, where people complained that they went pop, is that in the beginning they wanted to be songwriters. And one of the prime bands that they wanted to write for was the Bee Gees. Pop, okay? So what happened with Genesis music developing the way it did, very odd, strange, mysterious, and progressive, was a natural event thing that happened as a result of them having to take the reins of their own compositions. Nobody else would do them, and they developed. So when it wasn't a calculated thing that Phil Collins is going to make the band a pop band, it was there all along. I have great respect for all of Genesis's catalog. After Phil left and they brought in Ray, it was so obvious that the identity that could still be associated with Genesis was gone. It really was. I mean, the triumvirate after Hackett left and Gabriel, it was still there. The essential nugget. This is all just my opinion. Was still there. After Phil left, there was really in my mind. Yeah, I have that record calling all stations. You know, you can hear that it's Tony Banks, but it's could have been a Tony Banks solo record. That's just what I want to say about Genesis. I respect the artist's right to be who they are, and even though we as um, fans own the music by our love of it, we don't get to dictate to the artist what they do and who they are. I definitely won't stand for it myself, you know, and I deal with it to a degree, being in the public eye. Well, people will come over and make comments, even leave comments on Facebook like they know my business, like they know what I'm supposed to be doing because they listen to me. It's like, oh no, you don't. This is what I do. That's what I want to say about Genesis. Okay, I'm glad that the tsunami didn't occur. I'm glad everyone's okay. Have a good day, everyone.